Did you know there's different forms of depression? On the brink of the time change and the clock switch up, I'm going to throw out to you seasonal affective disorder. Up until a number of years ago, I didn't even know what the heck that was. And I'm going to tell you, it is super duper prevalent. And it's something that is absolutely diagnosable and affects a whole lot of people. So what is seasonal affective disorder? It is a form of depression that is, as it says, seasonal. So there's two forms of it. When it comes to those who are affected on the brink of fall that transitions into winter, or those who are affected when it goes spring into summer. The majority of people that face this are those where there's less sunlight. It's the cooler weather sets in, and we're kind of like, well, I'll say like a bear. We go into kind of hibernation mode. And whether you're a winter person or a summer person, there's a whole lot of people that are affected by this. I think we've heard the term a little bit more frequently in the past few years and we've become more educated about it. But sometimes, whether it's adults or as teenagers, people can kind of brush this off as, well, you're just feeling funky, you're just feeling sad. And maybe that's the case, but this is where we're going to determine between somebody who is, we'll say, funky and somebody who suffers from seasonal affective disorder. SAD is what it's kind of really appropriately called. So if somebody suffers from this, what the heck does it look like? Well, it starts with this. It's red flags kind of from excessive sleep, feeling ongoing sense of funkiness, sadness, talking about hopelessness. In extreme cases, it's talking about not having the desire to live or wanting to hurt themselves. Some other things that are out there is decreased energy that obviously goes hand in hand with depression. Excessive eating, like a swing in eating habits, lack of ambition, and switch up in terms of interests have kind of regressed, hobbies, activities that they're no longer interested in. So these certain, we'll say, bullets or red flags, a combination of these things, if it's a week I'm feeling this way, that's one thing. But if it's ongoing, and there's a whole lot of people that suffer from seasonal affective disorder. And I'd say whether you're an adult or whether you're a teenager, it's being aware of, okay, before the clocks change, do I feel a change within myself? And I'll say this is something that I absolutely struggle with. I know my body. I know emotionally and physically that as summer fades and we get closer to winter, there's less sunlight. It's colder. I mean, I'm literally leaving for work in the dark and I'm coming home and it's dark. My body feels it. I get tired. I feel, I'm going to use the word depressed and sad. And so with that, it's being aware of our bodies. It's being aware of the people in our homes, our household, there's a switch going on. And so how do I meet the needs if this is the case? So I'm going to answer that question for you. And that'll be from having a game plan. Maybe that's going and talking to a counselor. It's making sure that person isn't by themselves for an excessive amount of time. It's engaging with other people, lining up. Maybe that's, lining up time to hang out with friends or family members, because being alone is not a good thing in an excessive amount of time. It's getting outside. I say this to young people, like seriously 5 or 6 times a day. How much time are you spending outside? I don't know. I don't feel like going outside. I'm just blah. And I'll say you need to make it a priority. You need to make yourself a priority. Our bodies need sunlight. Our bodies need fresh air. Has to be something. Our bodies need to be active. So it's getting off of the couch and going for a walk. Maybe it's going, to the gym a few times a week. It's going for a bike ride. For some people, it's getting a sun lamp can really, really help because it's actually helping with creating that sense of sunlight that we need, because there might be days on end that there's no sun exposure. So I'm feeling funky. I'm feeling depressed in certain situations because this is seasonal. Medication absolutely can go hand in hand with this, but that should not happen without first going and talking to a counselor. I feel like that just doesn't make sense in terms of order. Go and talking to a counselor if medication is needed. That's something you talk about, and you advocate for yourself with that, knowing what am I taking, what are the side effects, and kind of keeping a tabs of how does this make my body feel. Once sunlight kind of hits and you're feeling differently, now that can be reevaluated. But seasonal affective disorder is something that we should not take lightly. And if there's members of your household that look at mental health as something that is insignificant, or it's something that doesn't take priority, that does a number on that person that is suffering from that. So being careful of what comes out of our mouths, that it's not dismissed. I've worked with a number of people over the years who legitimately suffer from whether it's depression or in particular seasonal affective disorder, and feel emotionally paralyzed where, why do I feel this way? I just want to stay under the covers all the time, but I know I shouldn't. I want to cry at any given moment. I could eat, 3.5 tubs of ice cream with some popcorn and down it with some ginger ale, and that's not my normal eating habits. Well, it's okay, being aware of our bodies, being aware of our minds, and when we need help. Sometimes we don't realize that we need help because the fog is in session because of depression, and that's where we as family members and loved ones take the initiative, extend our hands, and say, yo, let's get you the help you need, and go into a counselor. Looking at all the pieces, we need to come up with a game plan, because it's not just going to a counselor. It's multifaceted, just like the things I mentioned before. Having a game plan, getting outside, interacting with people, continuing engagement, not all the time because that can drive us crazy, but finding ways to be healthy, because that's what this is all about. And I encourage you, if you have questions, throw them my way. This is a great thing. You can hop on Google, from WebMD to the Mayo Clinic has some phenomenal articles on what this looks like and how to go about addressing it if you or somebody you care about and love is suffering from this. So I encourage you, the more we know, the more power that we have. And thanks for tuning in. Peace, love, and goodness, and have a great one.